Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to discuss skepticism. Do you often question the truth behind widespread claims and beliefs? Do you want to learn critical skills to sift facts from fiction? If so, then you're in the right place. Here, we will take you on an exciting intellectual journey, exploring the world of skepticism and uncovering the mysteries behind claims that seem too good to be true. Get ready to question everything, because here, skepticism is the key to better understanding the world. Welcome to the channel that will stimulate your mind and open your eyes to hidden truths. Skepticism is an attitude or view that doubts or refuses to accept any truth or reality without strong or convincing evidence. It's an approach that questions the validity or truth of a claim presented as fact. Skepticism is not a belief or set of beliefs, but rather an approach to claims of knowledge. It's a framework characterized by continuous questioning and doubt, with the aim of achieving a better and more accurate understanding of the world. There are several contrasting attitudes similar to skepticism, but have different meanings and connotations. Apathetic. An apathetic attitude is one that lacks or has little interest, enthusiasm, or attention, indifferent. Apologist. An apologist attitude is one where a person provides arguments or explanations to defend or justify a belief, doctrine, or action. Dogmatic. A dogmatic attitude is one that holds one's own opinion and is reluctant to accept the ideas or views of others, stubborn. Critical. A critical attitude is one that tends to analyze and evaluate a situation or work carefully and meticulously. All these attitudes can be used in certain contexts, but they have different nuances and can change the meaning of a sentence depending on how they are used. Here are some types of skepticism that we need to know. Dogmatic skepticism. This approach argues that nothing can be known. There are no true truths. All human knowledge claims are wrong. Pyrrhonian skepticism. This approach argues that certainty is impossible. The wise person should suspend judgment on theoretical matters. Empiricist foundationalism. This approach argues that only sensory experience or reality can be the basis for judgment. Rationalist foundationalism. This approach argues that the senses provide a subjective or even manipulative understanding. Only reason can find universal truth. Authoritarianism. This approach argues that only certain people have the power or capacity to know and understand something correctly. Each type of skepticism has a different approach to viewing knowledge and truth. They all show various ways in which we can doubt or question knowledge claims. An illustration of skepticism can be found in the story of Buddha and the 6 blind men. In this story, Buddha compares humans to blind men trying to understand an elephant. Each blind man touches a different part of the elephant and makes conclusions based on what they feel. One person touches its trunk and thinks the elephant is like a snake, another touches its leg and thinks the elephant is like a tree, and so on. However, none of them truly understand what an elephant is because they are only feeling a small part of the whole. Buddha said, "How can you be certain about what you cannot see? We are all like blind men in this world. We cannot see God. Each of you may be partly right, but not entirely." This story illustrates how we often make assumptions or conclusions based on our limited knowledge or experience, and how important it is to always doubt and question our knowledge claims. This is the essence of skepticism. Another illustration comes from the Salaf al-Salih, early Islamic figures known for their wisdom and deep understanding of religion. They have 2 often quoted statements. First, Ra'yi shawab wa yatamul al-qada, meaning, my opinion is right but could be wrong. Second, Ra'yuka qada wa yatamul al-shawab, meaning, your opinion is wrong but could be right. Both of these statements reflect a healthy skepticism attitude. Even though someone might be confident that their opinion or belief is correct, they remain open to the possibility that they might be wrong and that others might be right. This is an attitude that encourages dialogue, discussion, and exchange of ideas, and helps prevent dogmatism and intolerance. The history of mankind is indeed full of disputes of views in various fields of knowledge. From philosophy to physics, from politics to psychology, debates and controversies are common. This shows that certain knowledge is beyond human reach. We are always striving to seek the truth, but often what we consider as facts or truth can be questioned and debated. This is the essence of skepticism. The recognition that our knowledge is always incomplete and uncertain, and that we should always be ready to question and examine our knowledge claims. In the context of physics, there are several skeptical arguments often related to the limitations of human knowledge about the real or physical world. Here are some points that are often discussed. Knowledge is a response of the human mind, not something that is real, das Ding und sich. This means that our knowledge of the world is our mental interpretation or representation, not reality itself. We never really see the world as it is, but only see a picture or model of the world created by our brain. Knowledge is not directly obtained from the object, but from the subject. This means that our knowledge is always influenced by our subjective perspective and experience. We never really know an object directly, but only through our filter of perception and understanding. The senses provide information as far as they capture it, not according to reality. This means that our senses can only provide information as far as they are able to detect. For example, our eyes can only see light in a certain range of the electromagnetic spectrum, and our ears can only hear sounds in a certain frequency range. Therefore, our perception of the world is always limited and incomplete. All these arguments in physics show that our knowledge of the physical world is always uncertain and incomplete, and that we should always be ready to question and examine our knowledge claims. In the context of psychology, there are several skeptical arguments often related to the limitations of human knowledge about oneself and the surrounding world. Here are some points that are often discussed. We live in the present, based on the past, for the future. This means that our experiences and knowledge are always influenced by our past and our hopes for the future. However, we can only live and act in the present moment. The past for us is just a memory, and memory is the most uncertain basis of knowledge. Our memories are often inaccurate and can be influenced by various factors, including emotions, biases, and new experiences. Therefore, our knowledge of the past is often uncertain and incomplete. The future is also something that is unclear, and knowledge about it is speculative. We cannot predict the future with certainty, and all our hopes and plans for the future are speculative. We can only make our best estimates based on the information we have at the moment. All these arguments in the context of psychology show that our knowledge about ourselves and the world around us is always uncertain and incomplete, and that we should always be ready to question and examine our knowledge claims. Here are two models of skepticism. First, doubting human ability to know something absolutely, relativism. This model argues that all knowledge is relative and there is no absolute or universal knowledge. This means that what we consider as right or wrong can change depending on the context or perspective. Second, doubting the knowledge possessed to gain more accurate new insights or knowledge, doubt towards the object of knowledge, as a method. This model argues that we should always doubt our knowledge claims and always be open to learning and updating our understanding. This is a proactive and dynamic approach to knowledge, which encourages questioning, research, and lifelong learning. Both of these models show how skepticism can be used as a tool to question, examine, and expand our knowledge. Relativism is the view that knowledge, truth, and morality are relative and vary depending on the individual or culture. Here are two forms of relativism. First, moderate relativism. This approach argues that everything is dependent. For example, Derrida's network of meanings theory. According to Derrida, meaning is not singular, but plural. Meaning is not something that is dead, fixed, but alive and evolving. In this context, meaning and knowledge are not absolute, but depend on context and perspective. Second, nihilism. This is an extreme form of relativism, which argues that life is without objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value. Nihilism rejects the existence of objective or universal truth or moral values, and is often associated with the view that life itself has no purpose or meaning. Both of these approaches show various ways in which we can understand and question the concepts of knowledge, truth, and morality. In the 5th century BC in ancient Greece, a philosophical school of thought known as Sophist skepticism emerged. The Sophists were a group of philosophers and teachers who were famous at the time, offering lessons and expertise in various fields such as rhetoric, logic, and ethics. They were known for their skeptical views on absolute knowledge and truth. The Sophists did not believe in the existence of objective or universal truth. They believed that knowledge and truth are relative and depend on the individual's point of view. This view is often referred to as relativism or subjectivism. Sophist skepticism also includes a critical approach to beliefs and values held by society. They believe that views and values considered true by a culture or society can vary from one place to another, and from one time to another. Therefore, they emphasize the importance of questioning and testing existing beliefs. However, although their views could cause doubt and uncertainty, Sophist skepticism also made significant contributions to the development of rhetoric and speaking skills in ancient Greece. They taught argumentation skills and the effective use of language in persuading others. Sophist skepticism is one of the influential schools of thought in the history of philosophy. Although their views have been criticized by many other philosophers, their contributions in questioning authority and truth have had a significant impact on the development of philosophical thought.
Sophist skepticism is represented by several figures, among them Georges and Protagoras. Georges. He put forward a very skeptical view of knowledge and reality. According to him, nothing exists. Even if something exists, it cannot be known. And even if it can be known, it cannot be communicated. This means that according to Georges, absolute knowledge about reality is impossible. Protagoras. He is known for his statement, "Man is the measure of all things." According to him, truth and reality are relative and depend on individual perception. This means that what we consider as right or wrong, good or bad, should always be considered in relation to a person's needs or interests. Both of these views show how skepticism can influence the way we understand and question the concepts of knowledge and reality. In ancient Greece, there was a famous philosopher known for his dialogical method, also known as the Elencus method or Socratic method, which is a philosophical approach used by the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates to achieve a deeper understanding through questioning and discussion. This method was often used by Socrates to question other people's beliefs and views, as well as to reveal weaknesses or uncertainties in their thinking. Here are some key characteristics of Socrates' dialogical method. Open questions. Socrates used open questions to start dialogues with others. These questions were designed to stimulate reflective thinking and encourage others to contemplate their own beliefs and arguments. Method of irony. Socrates often used irony to make his interlocutors doubt their own beliefs. He would pretend not to know or understand a topic, then ask others to provide an explanation. In this process, Socrates often revealed uncertainties or weaknesses in their thinking. Rejection of thesis. Socrates often rejected the thesis or arguments put forward by his interlocutors. He would pose critical and skeptical questions to test the truth and consistency of these arguments. His goal was to build a stronger and deeper argument. Simplicity. Socrates tended to avoid the use of complex or abstract language. He focused on simple questions and the use of clear and understandable language. This allowed him to communicate with various people from different backgrounds. Search for truth. Socrates' dialogical method aimed to achieve a deeper understanding and seek truth through critical questioning and discussion. Socrates believed that by questioning our own beliefs and thinking, we can achieve better knowledge. Socrates' dialogical method is a critical and reflective approach to thinking and knowledge. It emphasizes the importance of questioning our own beliefs and continuously seeking a better understanding through dialogue and discussion. René Descartes, a French philosopher in the 17th century, took a methodological skepticism approach, now known as Descartes skepticism. Here are some main principles of this skepticism. We cannot trust our senses, for example, when dreaming. Descartes argued that our senses often deceive us, such as when we dream and believe that the dream is reality. Everything is worth doubting. Descartes argued that we should doubt all knowledge claims until we find something that cannot be doubted. Nevertheless, there is one thing that is not doubtful or certain, namely the fact that I am doubting. Descartes concluded that the only thing that cannot be doubted is the fact that he is doubting. Doubting is the same as thinking. Descartes argued that the process of doubting itself is a form of thinking. By thinking, it means there is still someone who thinks. Descartes argued that if he could doubt and think, then he must exist. I think, therefore I am. This is Descartes' famous statement, cogito, ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am. This is the foundation of Descartes' philosophy and the starting point for his entire knowledge system. Descartes' skepticism shows how doubt and questioning can be used as a tool to achieve certainty and knowledge. In Scotland, there was an empirical philosopher named David Hume who was famous for his radical skepticism. Here are some main principles of Hume's skepticism. The world is full of unclear concepts. Hume argued that many concepts and ideas that we consider as knowledge are actually unclear and uncertain. Return to knowledge from spontaneous experience. Hume argued that all our knowledge comes from experience. He rejected the idea that knowledge can be obtained through rationality or pure intuition. The whole reality is a collection of human perceptions alone. According to Hume, we never really experience the world as it is, but only experience our perceptions or mental images of the world. All thoughts or ideas that cannot be traced back to the real or empirical world must be rejected. Hume argued that if an idea or concept cannot be traced back to sensory experience, then it should be rejected as meaningless. All knowledge and theories come from reality, either in the form of single ideas or complex ideas. Hume argued that all our ideas, whether simple or complex, come from our experience with the physical world. Hume's skepticism shows how doubt and questioning can be used as a tool to achieve a better and more accurate understanding of the world. David Hume, also known for his criticism of religion and the concept of miracles. Here are some main points of his criticism. Religious knowledge is all nonsense metaphysical speculation. Hume argued that many religious claims are metaphysical speculations that cannot be empirically proven or refuted. Miracles are never witnessed by a group of intelligent people. According to Hume, claims about miracles often come from unreliable sources and are never witnessed by intelligent and skeptical people. People do like sensational events. Miracles are one of them. Hume argued that people tend to be attracted to extraordinary and sensational stories, such as miracles. Most miracles occur when science has not yet developed. Hume noted that claims about miracles often come from times when science had not yet developed and people did not have enough knowledge to explain natural phenomena. Miracles exist in every religion, and each religion claims that their miracles are the most true. Hume noted that almost every religion has its own miracle claims, and all these religions argue that their miracles are the most authentic. Many historians doubt events in history that are considered miracles. Miracles are more of a subjective interpretation of people who want to introduce new religious teachings. Hume argued that what is often considered a miracle may just be a subjective interpretation of unusual or unexplainable events. Hume's criticism of religion and miracles shows how skepticism can be used to question and examine knowledge claims that cannot be empirically proven or refuted. The concept of causality and induction are two important concepts in philosophy and science. Here are some important points. The concept of causality assumes that if event B occurs immediately after event A, then A must have caused B. However, for Hume, the concept of cause and effect in this case is not at all certain. What humans can see is the sequence of events, not causality itself. In other words, just because event B occurs after event A, does not mean it caused B. Causality is naive belief, animal faith. Hume argued that our belief in causality is more based on habit and experience than on rational or empirical evidence. Induction is inadequate to prove truth, because people cannot possibly access all existing facts. Hume argued that the inductive method, which involves generalizing from specific observations to general rules, is always uncertain because we can never be sure that we have observed all possible cases. Hume's views show how skepticism can be used to question our basic assumptions about the world and how we understand it. Skepticism in religion can indeed be interpreted as agnosticism. Agnosticism is a philosophical view that assesses that the truth generally related to metaphysics, theology, the existence of gods, God and others, is something that cannot be known by a limited mind. Agnosticism considers the truth value of certain claims, especially claims regarding the existence or non-existence of a god or gods, but also other religious and metaphysical claims, to be unknown or unknowable. According to philosopher Immanuel Kant, agnosticism exists in three things: God, freedom, and eternity. In Kant's view, everything that does not have a foothold in the empirical realm is something that cannot be made knowledge, even though it is valued as useful. Concepts about God, soul, freedom, life after death, and so on, may be valuable and very important for some people. But, for Kant, such things are not knowledge at all, because they are beyond the reach of human experience in general, alias do not have a foothold in the empirical realm. Skepticism can indeed give birth to both positive and negative impacts, depending on how we use it. Doubting human ability to acquire certain knowledge. This can make us more humble, not arrogant, and realize our limitations. However, this can also make us always blame others if we feel that they do not have certain or correct knowledge. Doubting the accuracy of the knowledge possessed. This can make us more critical and strive to continue learning and growing. However, this can also give birth to uncertainty that is not conducive to practice or action. Without doubting, people do not think. Skepticism encourages us to always question and examine knowledge claims, which in turn encourages critical thinking and lifelong learning. Every discovery begins with a question mark. Skepticism encourages us to always seek answers and new knowledge, which in turn can lead to discoveries and innovations. The history of human thought is the history of human doubt in its quest for truth. Skepticism has played an important role in the history of human thought, encouraging us to always question and examine knowledge claims and seek truth. So, skepticism can be a powerful tool for learning and growth, as long as we use it wisely and responsibly. In various forms and contexts, skepticism has indeed played a crucial role in the history of human thought, encouraging us to always question and examine knowledge claims and seek truth. Whether in philosophy, religion, physics, or psychology, skepticism teaches us that our knowledge is always uncertain and incomplete, and that we should always be ready to question and examine our knowledge claims. However, skepticism can also give birth to negative impacts if used unwisely. Therefore, it's important for us to use skepticism as a tool for learning and growth, not as a reason to reject or ignore knowledge. Remember that every discovery begins with a question mark, and the history of human thought is the history of human doubt in its quest for truth. So, don't be afraid to doubt, ask, and keep learning. As Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Thank you for listening. I hope what we have discussed today can help you understand more deeply about skepticism and how it works in various aspects of life and knowledge. Remember that doubting and asking are important parts of the learning and growth process. Never be afraid to doubt, ask, and keep learning. See you next time.